None of the traditional wives are actually traditional wives. They're just pushing the agenda.
That's what I wanted to discuss. Because when you say traditional wife, what are the categories for the traditional wife? I never understood like what that is.
I guess probably stay at home, cooks and cleans, takes care of the kids. Husband comes at 6 o'clock. That was such a short period of time in history. It was only from like 1940 and that was over by 1965. It only lasted a short period of time.
Because households can't work that way.
It's not realistic.
It isn't, and it's not sustainable. We have to work.
If you look at the history of it, during the 20s and the 30s, most of the country was still in development. So there was a lot of poverty. Child labor was still normal. 9-year-olds working was nothing. Now you get to, let's say, around World War II. World War II started bubbling in 38, but then it went in 42. Yeah. I think it was over by 44. Now when the war is like, we got all this money now, we have all these resources, everything was popping. Housing, everything. There was so much money, you didn't really need your wife to go to work. When the 60s kicked in, things started shifting because these kids that were born in 1945, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, now they were turning 15, 16, and they were rebelling. And they didn't want to live this fake mama all day. The kids grew up with that fake around them, and they knew it was fake. It was all public image because that's when they started these row houses, neighbor, hey neighbor, and beer barbecues and all that. So now these kids are like 15, 16 years old. They're not hearing that. They don't want to hear none of this. And they definitely not going to repeat that. You're not going to repeat some you saw your mother going through and she's stuck in the house all day. She's depressed. She's going through. So now that whole started shifting apart. But the marketing never stopped. The marketing kept going. The marketing kept going. The marketing kept going because that became an ideal image that never was. Mm-hmm. So all of the propaganda has sort of like a superiority connected to it because to live that life, you really have to have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So people were striving to keep that image up, but it's never been realistic. But what happens is that in the midst of that feminist movement, women were saying they wanted independence from that. I don't want to be part of your picture perfect. And then a lot of times your kids give you courage because daughters was like, Mom, are we gonna? Because they were alcoholics. Mm-hmm. They had substance abuse. I'm trying to tell you, these neighborhoods were so boring. So what I'm saying is like the kids saw it and they didn't want a part of it. Daughters is like, Mom, what are you doing? You know, and the whole revolution started. And it was just to get away from that situation.